I'm going to call to order the Wednesday, April 13th, 2022 meeting of the Gardner City Council Finance Committee. Clerk will please call roll.
President Ignatius?
Present.
Councilor Monaco?
Present.
Councilor General.
Present.
Anybody here recording the meeting? Okay. Item 1-1, review and approval of the meeting minutes of March 16th, 2022.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Cormier, seconded by Councilor Laws to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Item 2-1, a measure authorizing $9,225.75 payment of prior year golf maintenance salary expenditure. Mayor Nicholson?
Thank you very much, Madam President. Due to an oversight back in 2019, an employee who was a groundsman at the golf course did not receive the longevity step that he is entitled to due to the position in which he is in. This was realized when we were hiring an additional grounds worker for the golf course this past year. We realized that the hiring rate was the rate that that individual was still at where he's been with us for some time. So that's where this was noticed. This does come out of the enterprise account, so it does not require any additional appropriation to go along with it. It's just something that we're paying the individual the wages that he was due, and this is the retro pay, if you will, as to what he received versus what he should have received. This is the difference in that amount, and he has been paid the correct amount going forward since that was noticed.
Thank you. So this just seems like it's cleanup,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Any, is there a motion?
Just gonna abstain.
I'll make a motion that we recommend passage.
Okay. Councilor Laws,
I'm gonna abstain from voting on this as a member of the golf commission.
I second the motion to, I second the motion to approve authorization. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Item 2-1, in order appropriating $10,000 from solid waste surplus to operating expenses. So this has to do with the trash receptacles that we had previously approved in the City Council, and the extra money is needed from the Department of Corrections because of the cost changes due to the Russian invasion. Basically, that's kind of trickled down throughout the world to us now at this point. Can you elaborate on a little more?
That is all correct, Madam President. We were notified by MassCorps that the cost of those trash cans have gone up significantly due to, one, the cost of just raw materials as a result of the pandemic, but two, as a result of the sanctions that have been laid against the Russian Federation following their invasion of Ukraine. Those sanctions have thus led to certain price increases, as we've seen in the oil industry, and has affected the steel industry as well, which drove the price of these trash cans up even further. So this is a appropriation to complete the order that was previously approved.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the committee?
Mentioned there was a reduction of the number of rooms that we're getting, is that correct? Or did
That
we
is-
not reduce?
No, that is correct.
Okay. How many were reduced?
About four or five.
4 or 5.
We went through and on Derby Drive, if you look at the small seating area that's there, there's 2 trash cans within 10 feet of each other, so we can really get away with one there. Director Arnold and Lauren Saunders, our Director of Public Health, went through and saw what they could really, where there were some redundancies that really didn't need to be there.
And even with the reduction,
redundancy, this is the increase.
Yeah.
Director Arnold, do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay. So ideally, we would be able to keep all of them, but the city's effort is to reduce them, I think, by the.
Yeah, especially if they're not being used, they become more of an issue if they, if one's not getting used as much, they may not be as picked up as often, and we don't need something sitting in it for a while.
I'll make a motion that we recommend passage of this to the entire council.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Cormier, seconded by Councilor General to approve the appropriation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Item 2-3, I'm sorry, is there any more discussion on that? I didn't ask for any more discussion. Okay. Item 2-3, in order appropriating $75,000 from free cash to landfill closure expenditures. Mayor Nicholson?
Thank you very much, Madam President. This is an annual appropriation that comes before the City Council every year. It is required that we maintain the former dump landfill for a period of, I believe it's 20 to 30 years after it's closed down, in terms of monitoring it for the methane that is produced from there, making sure that the torches that burn off the methane there remain active and lit to avoid any potential hazards in the future, as well as any environmental concerns. It is monitored for erosion control, it's monitored for environmental issues, it's monitored for methane. This is something that we continue to do for the schedule that is attached, that was adopted by the previous administration and the city council when the landfill was first closed. So that's why this is coming before the council again. This is our annual move forward in terms of funding that expenditure.
So there's no changes in the schedule, this is what we've seen previously.
This is the schedule that we had last year.
Yes, it is, yes.
I make a motion, we recommend this to the
Second.
council.
Motion made by Councilor Durham, seconded by Councilor Cormier to recommend passage to the council. Is there discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Item 2-4, an order authorizing the city to borrow $1.8 million to complete paving cost projects. Mayor Nixon, Director Arnold, whoever wants to go. Go ahead.
Do you want to start with this one, David?
This is more or less money to pave the streets that we replace the water mains in. The list is in front of you as far as, we do have some money available from the previous loan, the $11 million that we had to do some of these roads. However, we did a change order and added a bunch more streets down the Robillard, Richmond, Douglas area. This is money to cover the streets to be paved.
This comes out of water.
Correct.
And as just the public, we see no need for an increase in the water rate
As of right now,
as of right now.
this is all covered in the water rates. I don't need to raise the rates for this project.
However, just giving you an opportunity, public, if you will.
In the future, if there's a project or something we're mandated or we need to do, we're going to have to take a look at the water rates as I outlined in the letter, but we're good to go right now.
Yeah, and then the paving costs have gone up as well as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine as well, just like with any other oil products that we've seen, or just the price of oil or gas nationwide in general. I believe we're at, how much a ton now?
It's going to go to $83 a ton, whereas it's gone up about $12 a ton. I actually wrote this original letter about a month and a half ago and submitted it and recalculated after everything, and I had an increase.
Almost a moving target.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is enough to cover it, but we should be okay.
Have you seen it leveling out recently, last couple of weeks?
Yes, last couple of weeks it's stabilized. We're around $82 to $83 a ton.
Well, I think it's safe to do this now. I mean, if you need more, you can just come ask for more.
Okay.
That's the process, but.
This gives you at least a margin, just in case it loses. It does, okay.
I did in the last page, if it's colored, hopefully it's colored.
It is. Yeah.
That's kind of an outline of just the area in the Robillard, Whitman, Douglas area. The streets in blue we can cover through the water main loan, which would be part of this. The sidewalks are green, which are next to it. That would have to be paid for out of city funds. I say city funds, either resurfacing or Chapter 90. The other red streets are something that we might want to consider as a city, maybe trying to do some or a lot of this neighborhood while we're down there. Just
And I've talked with the director before, he tries to do projects cover neighborhood. I think it's a very good idea since I know that neighborhood.
Yeah, I think being down there anyway, getting it done. We've been successful with it in the past. You only have to just up the area for that amount of time. It just makes sense to be able to do it. So I
And
appreciate your
cost-wise,
planning.
I think it's a little bit more, I mean, it's still a lot of money, but if you can mobilize your forces for one area, it's going to be a little bit more cost-effective.
what we notice is when we have a bid coming up, currently Mass Broken Stone is our paving contractor, and when you try to mobilize and stay in one area, they get to learn that this is how you work, so they give you a little bit more competitive bid instead of being all over the town,
Well, that's
because there's mobilization costs. So, as long as we are consistent with that, they do help us out with the bid a little bit. So, then again, it should be noted that we are going out to bid, a new bid opens for July 1st. We're going to have a new contractor, or Mass Broken Stone is going to be the same contractor. I'm not sure yet, but just keep that in mind.
Make a motion to recommend this for passage for the entire council.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Council Cormier, seconded by General Officer, recommend passage to the city council.
Or just the
there discussion?
Madam President, it's just worth mentioning while we're on the topic of paving, the city is slated right now for the governor's budget to receive about $597,000 in Chapter 90 funding. The House is releasing its budget today, so that could change. We're also slated to receive another about $300,000 in what's called winter recovery funds that the legislature has already signed. Yeah, pothole funds. This is a new program that the state is issuing this year to take some of the infrastructure funding that they've received and put it back out to cities and towns based on the number of mileage of roads that every city and town has. That's how that was divided out. So we're getting about another $300,000 from that.
Great, so usually we get around 600,000 in Chapter 90, and now we have the additional RAP funding.
Correct.
You know,
We're getting closer to 900.
Yeah.
So that'd be great. Awesome. And to the city.
Sounds like a lot, but
Yeah.
You know, back in 2012, the city received $600,000. We're receiving the same $600,000, which means we can buy about 60% of what we could buy back in 2012, to give you an idea. So we're paving half this year as what we were 10 years ago.
And typically we put in about 400,000. We usually have $1 million budget, right? So, you know, we're close to that now, but we're going to the state and hopefully what we contribute. But again, if only the state gives 60%, it's kind of you're back where you were in 2012 with the extra money.
yeah, even with that extra money, it doesn't cover the cost of inflation for the last few years.
No. Yeah.
In line with that paving, is the state still on target for May for Pearson as well?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That's state.
That's a state job, but we pay for the design, so it's like a free construction job that is.
That'll be, so that section of Pearson, 140 from Green Street to Winchendon. And then this paving project, we should probably say too, for Central Street, doesn't cover the rotary itself, as that'll go under construction next April. So we would stop just short of the rotary, that way we're not paving something that the state will dig up next
Yeah,
year.
because that's being bid up in whatever, this is
September.
Yeah. Late fall.
In Green Street, they're already mobilizing there, I see. At least there's barrels out there.
That's for the hospital crosswalk, I think.
No, it's still at Connor Brayton, 140.
140, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they were looking, and they didn't give me a date yet, as far as when they're going to be paid. And then there's another
Contract
section.
that provides the barrel. We should have got into that business.
They're also paving Route 2 from Pearson Boulevard down to Mountain Road.
Oh, okay.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tyler?
Good work.
Item 5-1, a measure authorizing the city to enter into contract not to exceed 5 years for the following vendors: on-call trees, person contracts, installation, repair, and maintenance for HVAC, electrical services, plumbing services, and/or general contracting, school custodial services, general office, and janitorial supplies. Director Cormier, you want to I know you submitted this to us. I know it's just part of the job.
Yeah, mine's pretty standard. It's just every year we look at the contracts. These ones have been bid out for 5 years in the past. So we're just, per Mass General Law, if it's more than 3 years, we have to request approval from the City Council. So these are the 3 that are up right now that are in the past have been 5 years. There's a few other ones too, but we'll go for 3 years on those. So that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it, Madam President. We'll go through this every couple of years.
I will just note just one thing. The custodial services with the school, I am working with the school department to find out what the best avenue is for that. There is a state contract that we may use. And the office and janitorial supplies is with WB Mason right now. They're actually up for renewal. So that's something that I'll discuss before I put it out, but I thought it was best to at least request the approval, just in case we go out to bid.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to be recommended to the council.
Motion made by Councilor John, seconded by Councilor Cormier to recommend authorization to the council as their special resolution. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cormier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 8-1, a resolution regarding electric vehicles in the city fleet. We talked about this at our last meeting. I don't know if there's anything else to add.
If I may add, Madam President,
Yeah.
meeting with the Undersecretary Smalls last week at the Department of Transportation this August. The Department will be releasing new incentive funding for municipalities only, unlike other federal programs where it's the states have to obtain the money first and then distribute this out. This is a competitive grant program solely for municipalities. in which municipalities can obtain funding to either purchase and install new charging stations or new electric vehicles for their municipal fleet. So I think this is actually very timely in terms of that infrastructure funding that will be released very shortly by the United States Department of Transportation.
Awesome. Thank you very much for Commissioner Smith.
You wrote our calendar.
And we're still around it. Yeah, absolutely, that's what you said, the timing. Any new business?
None?
I want to say a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Arnold, seconded by Councilor Corman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Well, then, we're adjourned.